Hi guys, my name is Bobby. Welcome back, and today I'm going to be doing my August TBR. Now, first things first, in August, I am not going to do my TBR jar. I am not doing any readathons, and I'm just going to read whatever the fuck I want to read. Because this month, in July, I'm filming this July 25th, I've been doing the month-long The Bookie Trials Readathon, which I've absolutely loved, and I definitely will be participating in it next year. I love how Rachel set it up to where you have 4 paths to choose from. Like, there's so many different prompts that it doesn't, I mean, it's a readathon, but it doesn't feel like a structured readathon. And I think I've found with this one that I'm not really a big fan of the week-long readathons because I feel really too rushed, and with my work schedule and my kids and everything else, I just don't have time, and it's not really worth it. I end up spending the week stressing out and only reading maybe 1 book, 2 if I'm lucky. I don't know how those people like Chelsea and all them who work full-time jobs can read 7 books like in a week. I just don't know how they do it. I know audiobooks is a big help for them, but since I'm not a fan of audiobooks and I have a hard time not comprehending, retaining anything from an audiobook, physically reading that many books in a week is just hard for me. So I love that this has been a month-long readathon, and it's been a trial. They don't call it the trials for nothing, which you'll see in my July wrap-up. But yeah, I think I'm only going to do month-long readathons from now on, maybe a couple week-long ones. Everybody, as you've probably seen, is participating in the Reading Rush, which is formerly the Booktubeathon. I am not participating in that, while it's like everybody on Booktube's doing it, and it's like kind of like our readathon or whatever. None of the prompts really appealed to me, and I honestly didn't have much on my shelves to fill the prompts. Plus, I'm doing the Book Junkie trials and all that, and it's just too much. Like, it was just too much for me, so I just decided not to participate. I know a ton of people are, and they're daily vlogging. Another thing that I don't do, I don't vlog because my life is very boring. Like, the vlog would literally be 2 minutes long. So the Reading Rush was just something that I could not do or just didn't really want to do, and I feel kind of bad about it being a booktuber, but none of the prompts really appealed to me or had stuff that I could link with them, and it's a week-long readathon. Plus, I've got all of my prompts that I'm doing for the Book Junkie trials. There's only a week left, that whole thing. Though I give mad props to Becca at Becca in the Books. That girl has her Bookopoly TBR, plus she's doing the Book Junkie trials and she's doing the Reading Rush, and she's managed to make all of them kind of fit together. Mad props to Becca. Like, I don't know how the hell that girl does it. She's a great inspiration, and she amazes me every day with what she does. But anyways, back to my actual August TBR. Like I said, I am not doing my TBR jar. I'm not doing any readathons. I'm not doing anything. This month, I'm literally going to read whatever the fuck I want to read. I've picked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Yes, 8 books that I would like to read. One of them is one that I definitely will read because it's the book that is continuing on with my Richard Lehman read-along. But yeah, everything else are just books that I just want to fucking read. And there'll be 9 books that are on this TBR because I have a buddy read this month. And my buddy read this month, of course, is with Vicky over at Chapter 32. Ever since I started BookTube last September, which my BookTube anniversary is coming up. I looked today, actually, because for some reason I thought it was August, but it's not. It's September. And it's the end of September I posted my BookTube newbie tag of last year. So we're almost a year on BookTube. And Vicky is the one that helped me start my channel, or kind of give me the push to start. Her and I started with a buddy read of Gone with the Wind, and we did it in July. And I was just a viewer. And I said, hey, do you want a buddy read that? Because I'd always wanted to read it. So since then, her and I have done a buddy read every other month. We have our buddy reads planned through April of next year because we're overachievers, and yeah, it's good to plan things. So the book that we're going to be buddy reading this month, which I will put a picture here, is The Ruins by Scott Smith. This is a horror book that actually takes place in the month of August. I believe it takes place in Central America, possibly Mexico. Not sure. One of those two, either Central America or Mexico. I know it takes place in the tropics, but I believe it's in one of those countries. Or, yeah, countries, because Central America, I guess, isn't a country. It's just an area, because there's so many countries. But I can't remember exactly where. But it's a horror. It's very much like a slasher horror, a lot of body horror. Like, this group of kids, not kids, teenagers, like late teens, early 20s, go on this hike in the jungle wilderness, whatever, and to go look at these ruins. They go off the beaten path, they find these ruins, and they're haunted, or there's something in the bushes, something like that, where it's tracking them, trying to kill them. Tons of fun. So we're reading that for next month in August. This is the first horror I think we've buddy read. Oh wait, no, we tried to read Haven, but we both DNF'd it. So this is the first horror. I've heard a lot of good things about the ruins, but like I said, a lot of body horror, very gory, that kind of thing. So if you're not into that kind of stuff, I wouldn't pick it up. But yeah, I'm excited to read it. I love doing buddy reads with Vicky. Her and I are on the same wavelength when it comes to buddy reading. We're the same age. We have kids. So, like, we don't beat each other up or beat ourselves up if, you know, like, oh, we forgot to read today or we didn't have time. We just do our thing. And it's great. And so we tend to read, like, 50 pages a day. According to my Kindle, which is where I'm going to be reading the ruins, it's like 500 pages long. I didn't think it was that big. I thought it was a lot shorter than that. Granted, when I looked at my Kindle reader on my phone, I don't know if it'll be the same on my tablet, like the font was super huge, like it looked like large print. So if that's the case, like it'll go quick, but we'll see when we get there. Anyways, reading the ruins with Vicky, yes. So next I will talk about my Richard Lehman book. The next one in the line to read is Dark Mountain. This came out in 1986, I believe. I think that's what it was when I looked up on my phone. I think it was 86, maybe 88, somewhere in there. 86, 88, somewhere in there. I have read this one. I remember bits and pieces, but not much. I mean, I read most of Richard Lehman in my early 20s. I'm now 35, so some of them I don't remember. But this one is two families that go camping in the California wilderness, and there is this old hag and her crazy psychotic son who live in this forest or whatever. And of course, the son is your typical rape. He likes rape and murder and all that, so he's the one that does most of the killing. I believe she's considered kind of like a witch, but I don't quite remember. But lots of death, lots of all the craziness, but I do remember bits and pieces, and I remember I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's very gory, from what I remember. Very, very gory. So this will get read. This is also very quick. Richard Lehman doesn't write very big, long books, and they're really easy and fast to get through. So I'm kind of excited to read this one because I do remember enjoying it. So I think this will probably be the first one to hopefully kick me back into actually enjoying his books, because I didn't really like his early ones. And so this one, I have high hopes for. So we'll see. And then I have also started rereading the Sookie Stackhouse series. I have read them both. I've read the series all the way through twice. Because usually, like, I've had other rereads, but I usually stop around book 4 or 5, because book 4 is my favorite. Because give me all of the Eric Northman. Give me all of the Eric Northman. Eric Northman is my favorite character in the entire series. Well, of course, if you don't know, the Sookie Stackhouse series is based, the show True Blood was based off of the Sookie Stackhouse series. There are 14 or 13 books in the series. I didn't even read the final book in the series because I knew the spoiler of who she was going to end up being with, and it pissed me off so fucking thoroughly that I refused to read it, because the way she ended the series, it pretty much threw the rest of the series in the trash. Like, it pisses me off. I love True Blood up until through season 4. I did not like the last 3 seasons. It kind of threw it all down the toilet. As far as the books are concerned, book 1 is season 1. Book 2 is very much season 2. Only, if I remember right, the Maynard isn't that big in book 2. It's been a while. I'm currently reading or getting ready to read book 2 to start it. Like, I can read a Sookie Stackhouse book in a day or two. Living Dead in Dallas is book 2. This is, of course, the promotional cover that went with the show. All my other books after that which is what I'm going to read next month, Club Dead, which is book 3. They all look like this, which are the traditional covers. I have the box set of the first 8 books, and then I have books 9, 10, and 11, I believe, down here somewhere. But yes, Sookie Stackhouse series I'm rereading. I absolutely love this series. It is one of my favorite series. It's not good literature, we'll put it that way. It is trash, supernatural, what do they call it? Supernatural romance or urban fantasy romance, kind of. It's totally that. It's totally brain candy. It's totally trash. Like, it's one of the best palate cleansing books or series ever, because I can read it really quick. I really, really enjoy it. I picture the actors from the show in the roles in the book, the ones that appear. And I'm sorry, but Alexander Skarsgård is like one of the most yummiest men in the entire fucking world. And he played Eric Northman so well. And I picture him when I'm reading the books. And Eric Northman is huge in the books. And so, yes, all of the like wet, dripping, Nordic, Swedish, Viking vampire. I have feelings. Like, I have feelings. But I'm rereading it because I absolutely enjoy it. The books I really do love. Like, they are trash and they are just, you know, fluff trash that you read as a palate cleanser, which Becca is now currently reading the series for the first time, and she's reading book 3 this month, I think, in July, I think. So she should be on book 4 by August. So I'm trying to catch up to her, which I should. Just so that I can read them again at the same time she's reading them. Like, we're not reading them together. It's just, I love seeing her reactions, and when she's talking about certain things, like some of the things I forget, so I want to be fresh on them. So when she talks about them, I can comment on them. But I absolutely love the series. I mean, Charlaine Harris did a really good job as she was writing it, adding in, like, events. Like, Hurricane Katrina plays a huge part in the series because Hurricane Katrina happened while she was writing the books. So I think it's around book 7 or 8. No, maybe it's 6. Something like that. But, like, Hurricane Katrina happens in the book because the books take place in the made-up town of Bontemps, Louisiana. So, I mean, that was hit huge by Hurricane Katrina. And New Orleans was hit really big. So, she talks about that in, like, 2 or 3 books. Like, it plays a huge role. And I really do enjoy that she did that in her books. So, I love reading them. I love the smut. I love the vampire smut. I love that the vampires don't fucking sparkle. I love that they're mean and brutal. It's just, oh, it's so good. So good. Eric Northman is, like, probably one of my favorite characters ever. Because I just, fucking love him. But anyways, like, if you haven't read the series and you would like to read them, like, I would say do it, but just be prepared. They are trash. They are very smutty trash. Once you get to book 3 and you've watched the show, book 3 is totally different. That's where the show went whoosh. Like, if you've watched the show, you know, Russell is kind of like the big bad of season 3. Russell plays a very, very minor role in the books, and he's very, very minor. He plays a very minor role in the books. Though I loved what Dennis O'Hare did with that character, he's very minor in the books. So once season 3 hits in the show, it kind of goes off on its own. They do pull in bits and pieces from the books that they wanted to pick and choose, but it's not the same. But anyways, I've gone on literally on a tangent about True Blood and Sookie Stackhouse, which that's not what this is about. I am really sorry. I just really love the series. So I will be picking up Club Dead, which is book 3. Currently getting ready to start Living Dead in Dallas. I have, 6 days left in the month. So I have no problem getting this read. I can read this book today if I want it. And then I'll be reading at least book 3, possibly book 4, depending on how I get with these, because I have a huge stack over here and I need to get fucking on with it. So let's do that. The next book that I would like to pick up in August is King of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. This is book 2 in, what is the name of the, Emperor of Thorns. I think it's called the Emperor of Thorns trilogy, I believe. Emperor of Thorns is the name of the 3rd book. I am currently reading Prince of Thorns, which is book 1. I am about 100 pages in, and there is just over 300 in it. I have no doubt that I will finish this by the end of July. I mean, it's small. The font is really easy. It's very easy to read. I'm enjoying it so far. So if I will get that finished, I should, then I will definitely pick up King of Thorns. And this one is a lot thicker. This one's over 400 pages. I'm enjoying it so far. It is very much a grim, dark fantasy. Lots of, not gore, but war. Lots of war. There hasn't been any descriptions of graphic rape or anything, though I've heard reviewers say there is, but I have yet to come across it, and I'm 100 pages in. But I think that what makes it so intense is that you're in the head of Jorg. It's spelled J-O-R-G, but I've heard people say that it's pronounced George. But he's a prince, and he's been through some shit. And he is very, very dark. So from what I've gathered so far, like being 100 pages into Prince of Thorns, it's like being in the head of a serial killer, or like, to me, it's like being in the head of like Ted Bundy. Because this guy, he's a sociopath. He's borderline psychopath. He's very, very violent. He has very violent thoughts. The urge to kill is very much there, and he's very vocal about it. And since you're in first person and you're in his head and you hear everything he's thinking, it's some dark shit. So, you know, be warned if you want to read this series. It is very, very, very grimdark. Very scary. Not scary, but very, very grimdark. All about murder and revenge. And from what I understand, from what other people have said, he gets a lot of character development in the other 2 books. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm enjoying it so far. So if I finish Prince of Thorns, which I'm sure I will, I want to continue on and read Emperor of Thorns. So that segues right into my next one, which I'm very excited to get to, and that's Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames. This was kindly gifted to me by Cody over at Cody's Book Corner. She is the absolute best. I absolutely love that girl. I just sent her birthday present, which she opened on her vlog. I think it was her weekly vlog. But yeah, I absolutely love her. She sent this to me at the end of June. It was after I finished Kings of the Wild, and she was so excited that I read it, because I read it because of her, and I loved it, so she sent me the sequel, Bloody Rose. From what I understand, Bloody Rose is not like a direct sequel. It's more of a companion novel. It doesn't follow the guys from the first book, but I believe this right here is Rose, who is Gabe's daughter, and so I believe it follows her and her group of mercenaries. So it's a totally different story, but set in the same world, set in the same area. It's more of a companion. And from what I understand, there are characters that pop up. As I flipped through it a little bit, I saw Moog's name pop up, and Moog is one of my favorite characters. So that I'm excited. As long as like some of the old guys pop in and out, because I really enjoyed them, I'm fine with that. But I'm also curious to follow Rose and figure out why she ended up doing what she's doing. But I'm very curious. This one is supposed to be more female-centric. I love Nicholas Eames' writing. It was funny because on my Goodreads, when I finish or read a book, it posts automatically to my Twitter. And when I finished Kings of the Wild, and it just posted on, my Goodreads posted for me on Twitter that said, you know, I rated Kings of the Wild 5 stars. Nicholas Eames himself liked and commented on my tweet, and then so I tweeted him back and I said, I absolutely love your writing. You are an author for me. And he was like, thank you so much. It was just kind of cool to have an author notice. But yeah, I can't wait to get to this one. Cody says it's really good. I've heard that it's not as good as Kings of the Wild, but still great. So this will definitely be one I really want to read, because I loved Kings of the Wild. So this one, I hope it doesn't suffer from second book syndrome, but I doubt it'll disappoint me. The next book on my list is also a sequel, and that's Queen of Ruin by Tracy Bang Hart. This is the sequel to Grace and Fury, which I read last year. This book just came out in the beginning of July, and I seriously can't wait to get to it. This series, well, I read, spoiler alert for my July wrap-up, I read Girls of Paper and Fire this month, and it reminded me a lot of Grace and Fury. They have a lot of the same similar themes. Grace and Fury, I'll tell you a little bit about. I can't really say much about this one because I haven't even really read the synopsis yet, because I haven't picked it up yet. But I don't really want to say much about it because it's a sequel. But Grace and Fury is about 2 sisters, Nomi and Serena, and they live in a world where the king, I think it's every year, every couple years, gets new concubines called Graces, and so they go to the castle and they are chosen. But in this world, Graces, women who want to be Graces, or little girls who, you know, their families would like them to be Graces, train them from a very early age to be Graces, so they're more likely to be chosen. And Serena, in this story, or in Grace and Fury, she's been trained since a very early age to be a Grace, and her sister Nomi, who is very much a free spirit, has been trained to be her handmaiden. Once they get to the castle, things happen. Nomi gets chosen instead of Serena, so their roles are turned on their heads. Some other stuff happens. Serena ends up on this island, which is a woman's prison. Pretty much this entire island. What I enjoyed about Grace and Fury, a lot of people were kind of mixed about it. I loved it. I loved the themes it explored about femininity. That's a hard word to say. But feminism in general, sisterhood, what it means, women's rights, and taking back your will, what do they call that? Not the will to choose. Why can't I think of it? People talk about it all the time. Constitution, maybe, where you see women in books where they just sit there and they just, And in this world, it's very much medieval in the way that, you know, women are just to sit there and to be seen and not heard. And in this story, it's more like they're taking it back. Like, they're sticking it to the man. And I enjoyed it. I love the way it was written. I love the cliffhanger at the end. Like, I couldn't wait to read this one. I enjoyed the series. It's YA, but it's one that I actually enjoy. I mean, there wasn't that many tropes that I remember. I mean, there is some a little bit with the romancy little bit, but it's different, and I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read the sequel because the way it ended, like, I gotta know what's happening. The next 3 books on my list are books that I just really want to get read. They're Book of the Month books. I really need to read some Book of the Month books. If you watched my video of all my unread Book of the Month books, I have like 33, something like that. I really need to get these read. So I picked 3 that I would like to read this month, and I'm gonna get them fucking done because I have no excuse and I need to get these read. And the first one is Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. Granted, nobody on BookTube seems to be reading it. Gabby over Gabby Reads is the only one I've seen read it. I know Vicky has this book as well. I don't think she's read it yet. I don't think. Unless she read it this month, I don't think she's read it yet. But this tells the story of two families. Both of the dads are cops in the NYPD. One has a son, one has a daughter, and they become really close. I don't know if it's necessarily romantic. There's some big event that happens, the family separates, so it's very much a literary fiction. But I've heard nothing but good things about it from on the Book of the Month website and stuff like that. Yeah, but I really want to get it read. Did Vicky read this? I'm going to feel like such a jerk if she like read it in like June, because this was my June pick. Maybe she's reading it this month. Oh, I'm going to feel like such a jerk if she read this and has reviewed this and I'm just such an idiot. And because I watch all her videos, so I would have watched it. Oh my god, I'm going to feel like a jerk. But I don't think she's read it yet. But I've heard nothing but good things about this book, and I really want to get to it. I'm kind of in the mood for something like that, something a little bit toned down. I mean, I haven't had that great of a, spoiler alert, July hasn't been that great of a reading month for me. So I want to pick up books that are probably going to be 5 stars or damn near, that's going to keep me really engaged. So I really want to get this one read to see if it's worth all the hype it's been getting. Next book on my list is to fulfill my historical fiction wanting, because I've been wanting some historical fiction lately, and that's Summer of '69 by Ellen Hildebrand. I've heard mixed reviews about this book so far. From what people have said, it's not their favorite of hers. My friend Stephanie, who is not on BookTube, she's my best friend in real life, she has read some Ellen Hildebrand through like Kindle app, because she steals my Kindle app all the time. And she said that she likes her, she enjoys her writing, but I know there's usually some hint of romance in her books, which I'm not a big romance person. I mean, if it's a little bit, I don't really care. I know this is a historical fiction, but it's also literary fiction. It's about a family who goes to Nantucket every year in the summer, and all of the kids are grown except for the youngest one, so it's about their lives and what happens. From what I understand, there are little bits of politics of the time thrown in there, which I enjoy because I like it when a story references real life happenings. So we'll see. It's kind of a chunk, but I'm really in the mood for historical fiction, and the 60s are some of my favorite times. Like, I love the 60s. I love the entire decade. I love the music. I love, like, just everything about it. It's probably why Mad Men's one of my favorite shows, but there's not enough books that are set in the 60s. Like, I really enjoy the 60s, so I got this primarily because it's set in 1969. Another thing Vicky and I have in common, we both love the 60s. So I'm hoping to satisfy my 60s craving and my historical fiction craving with this book this month. And last but not least, I am going to probably shoot myself in the foot by reading this book, but I'm hoping third time's a charm, and I'm going to delve into like my thriller lust, because I haven't read a thriller in a while. So I'm going to read Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. Hopefully third time's a charm, because I've discussed his other 2 books before. The Final Girls I read, figured out the killer on page 8, and from reading some reviews, apparently I'm not the only one. Like, he set it up, like, and he hinted at it so hard. Like, it was so fucking easy to figure out. Figured out who the killer was on page 8 on Final Girls, though I did love the concept of that book. And the story, kind of. I liked the concept. That was good. Main character was annoying and whiny as fuck. Hated her. Figure out the killer on page 8. Kind of ruins a 300-something page book when you figure out the killer that fast. His second book, what is it? Oh, something about lying. Sometimes I lie. The Lies We Told. The Lies We Told? Something about lying. It's blue. It's blue. It's a book about camping. That story I read, takes place at a summer camp. I read that one. I enjoyed the summer camp setting. And I kind of figured out what had happened yet again. It wasn't as early as Final Girls, but I kind of had it figured out about midway through what had happened. I was correct. That one is kind of, it still wasn't that great. So this is his third novel. He puts one out every July since the Final Girls. Final Girls came out in July of 2017. So he's been putting out one like every summer. He's put out a thriller. So I'm sure we'll get one in July of 2020. But this one, I've heard good things about it. Good and bad. I guess either you're going to love the ending or you're going to hate the ending. It's one of those ones where it kind of, from what Heather says, it comes out of nowhere and almost seems like it doesn't make sense. But you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Lala loved it. April at Getting Hugga with It loved it. Heather kind of gave it like a 3. She was kind of in the middle. She preferred his other 2. So it's kind of like, we'll see how it goes. This is about a girl, I don't even know her name. Jules. She is a apartment sitter at the Bartholomew, which is supposed to be this big famous apartment building in New York City. But there's some very strict rules about being there. Like you have to stay every night there. You can't be gone. You have to stay every night there. So you can go during the day, but you have to come back at night for sure. All this stuff starts happening. She meets another apartment sitter who then goes missing. So she's trying to figure out what happens. So we'll see. I have a feeling I don't have high expectations, which kind of sucks because then if I go in with this shit attitude, then it's probably not going to be as good anyways, even if it would have been if I had a better attitude. But I'm a glutton for punishment, and maybe I'll end up hate reading this, which that's always fun because negative reviews can be really fun. So I want to get this read so it'll satisfy my thriller craving, and it's summertime, so it's time to read Riley Sager's latest thriller. Crap. Pile of crap. Whatever. I'm going to read it. Okay guys, that's it. That is my August TBR. I have quite the mix this month. I have 3 sequels, 4 if you include the next Sookie Stackhouse book that I'm going to read. I have a thriller, I have a historical fiction, a literary fiction. I'm kind of all over the place. But you know what? This month, like I said, I want to read whatever the hell I want. After July being so structured, I just kind of wanted to be able to mood read. And who knows, this TBR may fucking change. I might get a wild hair and pick up something else totally different. Guess you'll see in my August wrap up in the beginning of September. I can't believe we're already to August. I'm really excited we're to August because it means one more month till my kids go back to school. I'm tired of them. I want our routine back. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this month. I'm excited to actually read and mood read this month. I've been kind of, July has been kind of like a slog for me, as you'll see in my July wrap up, but I'm excited to get into this. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books. What are you planning to read for August? If there's anything that I should know about any of these, please let me know, because I'd like to know if you guys have read any of these, because, kind of nice to know going in so I kind of know what to expect. Anyways, that's it, guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.